All right, so hold on 1 second. Okay. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about excuses and why people make excuses because I am so tired of hearing people make up these imaginary excuses out of their mind as to why they can't do something or why they think they can't do something. So, before I get started, I want you to just take a minute and think about it. How many excuses have you made for yourself in the past month, in the past few weeks, in the past few days, or even within the past few hours? See, I have been diagnosed with social anxiety for about 5 years now, so I am the queen of making excuses. But within the past 5 years, I've had to learn that if I continue to make excuses, I'm not going to be able to accomplish everything that I want to in life. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about excuses and why we decide to make them. So, to start off, Dr. Claudia Aguirre, neuroscientist and mind body expert, says excuse making is in the self handicapping category, meaning it's a behavior we express that hurts our own performance and motivation. Excuses simply do nothing besides destroy ourselves. It restricts us from experiencing every opportunity possible. So, why do we make excuses? We make excuses mainly for these reasons: one, fear; two, self doubt; and three, lack of motivation. So, beginning with fear. According to Coaching Academy, a noteworthy motivational journal, fear, we mainly fear failure, rejection, making mistakes, or being judged. So, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about my personal fears and how I've learned what my fears are. So, beginning with my career in retail, when I first started out in retail, I was working a commission based job, which involves a lot of personal communication with a customer. So, to start out with, I had a fear of being afraid that I would not sell any product. I feared failure of being an unproductive sales associate. I feared the rejection of customers, and I feared being judged for the product that I chose to show to the customers. But in reality, as I continued on to my career in retail, I realized that these fears created excuses that prevented me from actually accomplishing anything at all. So, next, we're kind of going into self doubt, which I think is one of the most interesting forms of excuses or reasons why we make excuses because it's literally something we tell ourselves. We have complete control over our self doubt. So, self doubt is a dangerous result of our own thoughts. Like I said, we have control. We're the ones thinking these things. Dr. Cynthia Thack, founder of Revitalize You, says self doubt and self judgment is a learned behavior, usually resulting in someone telling us in life that we can't do something. One of the major obstacles to living the life we truly deserve is exactly self doubt. We tell ourselves we can't do this, we can't do that, and we adapt these thoughts and put them into our own lives, and eventually they just become a natural habit to think that we can't do something. I personally think that self doubt is what led me to be anxious because growing up in West Virginia, I was constantly told, no, you're not smart enough to do this. No, you'll never move to Nashville because no one ever leaves West Virginia, that kind of stuff. So it can really lead to anxiety or depression, which are serious issues and can affect you throughout your whole entire life. So, last but not least, lack of self motivation, aka I like to call it the lazy excuse. I call it the lazy excuse simply because there's not really a reason behind it besides you don't want to do it. Now, before we get into that, I would like to say that lack of self-motivation can be a side effect of depression or other serious issues. If that's the case, or if you feel like that's the case for someone you know or yourself, you should really get it checked out. I'm not saying in all cases you're just a lazy person, but usually lack of self-motivation is a habit that is adapted over a long period of time. You kind of just get used to saying, oh, I can do it later, or oh, I'm not capable of doing this, so I'm not going to bother. Richard Toney, a psychotherapist and motivational speaker, says when a person has a habit of not completing tasks, they won't be motivated to complete their goals, which this kind of gets me going into the example of the ladder of success. You can't get into the next level if you are okay with where you are and have no desire to move up at all. So self-motivation is really important in just getting things done and being able to be a productive member of society. So just a little recap. Excuses are the result of fears, doubts, and lack of motivation. But if you think about it, truly think about it, what do all of these things have in common? Well, they are all controlled by one thing. Whether you feel like it is or not, it's controlled by you. You have complete control over your thoughts, the way your body reacts, and becoming aware of what your fears are, or if you're not self-motivated, just those things in general will help you become better at not making excuses. So I'm going to leave you with this. Like I said, I've had anxiety for about 5 years now. And if I had continued to let my anxiety run my life like it did to begin with, I would have never accomplished the things that I have so far in life. For example, in the first picture, I would have never moved to Nashville. I completely came here by myself, no family, no friends, anyone, and I love it here, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to live here and go to Belmont. In the second picture, I've made so many new friends. I wouldn't have been able to do that if my anxiety told me no and made up excuses as to why I shouldn't have came here. I signed a lease on my first house. I've traveled to Chicago and New Orleans and other places. And going back to my retail experience, like I said, I was really anxious at first. If I would have let those excuses get to me, I would not be running the store that I do now called Ensemble downtown. And even the little things like going on my first flight for the first time, they all come down to the fact that I could have easily said, no, I can't do this, but instead I changed things around. So next time that you're thinking about making an excuse and saying, no, I can't do this because of so-and-so, or I'm not capable, or I just don't feel like it, I really, really, really encourage you to say, yes, I can do this, or just push through those excuses, because in the end, I guarantee you will not regret it.